Good morning everyone, it is Katie and today I am doing my follow-up to my favourite tarot decks of 2016 video, and I'm going to show you my favourite oracle decks of 2016. Before we get into the video, I just want to let you guys know that I'm thinking I might do my very first Q&A later towards the end of Vlogmas. I thought it might be a fun way to round out the year. I've never done a Q&A before, so if you want to ask any questions you can leave them in the comments below, or you can leave them on Facebook, or you can email me. My email is in the description below. Whether it's about tarot, oracle, spirituality or paganism, mental health stuff, or just general questions, feel free to ask me, and hopefully that video will be out sometime next week. I'll leave the tarot deck's favourite video in the description below just in case you missed that. And all of the decks I'm going to share with you, I'm not going to share in any particular order, but a few of them I have reviews or unboxings or other videos about, so I'll leave all of those relevant links below as well. Firstly, I'll show you this little gem. This is the Floret Oracle. I did do like a whole little video about this one. This one I bought because it's also based on the artwork of J.J. Granville. This is the backing, just like my Fantastic Menagerie tarot deck is, and that is one of my favourite tarot decks from the year. And there is an out of print Bubba Studios Oracle deck that is very similar to this, that I always kind of wanted to go along with my Fantastic Menagerie, but then someone told me about this deck, and it's just a cheap, fairly cheap, very affordable little kind of publish on demand deck that someone's put together. I'll leave the links to where you can purchase this below because it was a little bit tricky to find, but it is so beautiful and it's such a fun little deck. This next deck was actually sent to me as a gift. Someone sent it to me as kind of like a bonus deck in a trade that we made. It's the Eartheart Wisdom Affirmation cards by Sue Lyon. And this is a deck that is especially great for kind of those daily morning intention settings, and it's so beautiful. It's just really pretty. But then what makes them really great for like that daily intention setting is they actually have like the message on the back of the card, and it has been a deck I go to when I want a daily draw but I'm kind of feeling a bit detached from my practice in general, or not really feeling like I want to pull out an oracle deck, or certainly not a tarot deck, if that makes sense. This has been a really nurturing, sweet little deck that I've really found myself going to when I just don't feel like going to any other deck. The next deck probably ties with another for first place for my favourite oracle decks ever that I've worked with so far. And it did make it to my last year's favourites as well. This is the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Marashinsky and Janto. I have done a review of this one. I just think that this is the best goddess-centered oracle deck, I don't want to say ever, but certainly that I've worked with. It feels the most authentic and respectful. I mean, I'm not an expert on most of these cultures, certainly, but from what I understand and as an outsider, it doesn't feel homogenized. It doesn't feel whitewashed. I mean, the artist certainly has her own art style, but it just feels like she's tried to evoke the essence of the goddess in a really, respectful and authentic way. And the book is absolutely wonderful as well. Next up is a deck that I spoke about quite a bit this year, and last year I think too, and I'm pretty sure it did make it into my favourites last year. It's the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron-Reid. I do have the Wisdom of the Oracle, which was actually the first Colette Baron-Reid deck that I got, and is what prompted me to buy this one because I really did like that deck, but I don't think it has anything on this one. I still really like the Wisdom of the Oracle, but now that I've had this one for quite a while, I feel like this one is the one that I go to. This is the one that I use. I have done a review of this, but the review included a review of her book, The Map, because I think that the two do work really well together. I used this deck for a little while before I read the book, and I liked it. I got quite a bit out of it, but it was after I read the book that I understood the intention of the cards, and I really got, you know, I got the keywords. I got why they were titled this way a whole lot more. And I just think, I don't know, all of a sudden it just opened up 10 new layers to this deck that I didn't realize were there. The book is very much a standalone kind of self-help spiritual book. And then the cards just kind of take that to a whole new level, a tactile level, a visual level of working with the ideas that are presented in the book. And so yeah, this is certainly an oracle deck that has just found a solid, steady place in my oracle deck practice, and I don't think it's going anywhere. The next is the other deck that I think is tied for first place for my favourite oracle deck ever. And if you've watched more than a handful of my videos, you'll know exactly what deck I'm talking about. It's the Dreamtime Reading cards by Bowen. This deck, guys, I talk about it all the time for a reason. I genuinely think that Bowen has created a really, really, really special deck. It's powerful, it's intuitive, and I love too that she actually creates all of the dots in the paintings. She creates these with feathers that she finds, and she talks about how that affects the energy of the cards that she's working on depending on what feathers she's found and that she's using. The guidebook is wonderful. I think Laura, I mean, her art is gorgeous and her deck is flawless as far as I'm concerned, but then the guidebook is just as substantial. It's a very deep, ancient wisdom that I think transcends and crosses borders. Laura has created a really, really special deck with this one. And speaking of Bowen, her second deck, Saltwater reading cards, Laura sent this to me because I talk about her first deck so much that quite a few of you actually went and bought it from her. So she sent this one to me. It's a very, very generous thank you. And I didn't feel ready to work with it for quite a while, because she sent it to me like at the beginning of winter from memory, and I just kind of opened it up and looked at it and went, this is the summer deck. It's you know, her same art style, so colourful, so beautiful, but the saltwater as the theme, and also just this fresh blue and the sand that we see, it just felt really summery to me. So I have kind of started to pull it out the last 6 weeks or so, and I love it. I really do. I don't think it certainly doesn't replace the Dreamtime reading cards for me. I mean, they're my first love of Laura's. But this also feels a lot lighter. I mean, not just in the colour scheme. I know the Dreamtime reading cards are quite dark, but they feel a lot more ancient and earthy, whereas these feel a little more lighthearted, still very wise, still just as deep and much attention given to the messages in the guidebook and all of that. But I guess it's just wise in a more gentle way. And it's so beautiful. And finally, I wasn't sure whether to include it because I've only had it since just before the beginning of December. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But it's the Awakened Soul Oracle deck by Ethony. I am going to include it because it's just beautiful. We used it every day for the first week of my Vlogmas videos. I draw a daily oracle card at the beginning of each video, and we use this deck. And I liked it before, like when I first got it, I liked it. But even just after that week, I started to become really aware of how much intention was put into these cards and into the messages in the guidebook. With tarot, I tend to read, if there's a guidebook, I tend to read that once or twice and then put it aside. With Oracle, the way that I use Oracle for this daily intention setting, I tend to use the guidebook pretty often. You know, because it's not really about divination, it's about just checking back in. And with a guidebook like Ethony's, that's really loving, really encouraging, but still really real. You know, I love reading through that of a morning. I do plan on doing a review of this deck, although I did use it as like the daily draw card in like the first week of my vlogs, just so you could kind of see it in action and we could kind of get to know it together a little bit. But that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, as always, feel free to leave those below and I'll do my best to get back to you. And until tomorrow guys, so much love. Bye.